It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city join forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
TB and Vinny, Cats Talk Wednesday. PS3 Network, PS3TVLive.com, PS3 Network on your Roku channel, and you can watch us like Michelle does and everybody else. TB, man, what's happening?
We are, it's warming up here, so it's starting to be real nice, so I'm enjoying that. I'm not enjoying the construction around my house. I don't know if I told you, they are developing what was the cornfield right behind my house.
Oh.
Yeah, the cornfield that I stepped out of in that Field of Dreams montage. But it's gone. They're going to put, I think, 20 houses there.
Oh,
and then they're building a house right across the street. Which is, you know, if you've ever been where a construction site, it's not the most quiet thing ever. And they start at 7 o'clock in the morning, which, you know, I guess that's how they do things in the Midwest. In the South, we're a little bit more, we're going to take our time. But other than that, we're doing great. Sammy, because he's part watchdog, apparently, doesn't like anybody getting within 10 feet of the house. So he's barking at everybody. So I got to close blinds and stuff. So he's not agitated.
He earning his keep right now. He flexing on everybody.
Yeah. And I say, good job, Sammy. You barking at that backhoe. That keeps the house safe. Good job, buddy. Good job. And he looks like, I'm like, yeah, you the man. You the man.
For sure, man. Well, let's inching our way to summertime. We still got NBA playoffs, which is a lot happening with that. You know, the NFL wants to be around all the time, so the schedule gets released tonight. So, you know, I'm sure you've seen what notable games the 49ers will be involved with. We got Cowboys and Chiefs on Thanksgiving. We go watch the Eagles get their rings, first game of the season, so they gonna rub that in our face. So we got that. But, you know, everybody's, you know, it's become an annual event. Congrats to the NFL for making that be what it is. But the schedule comes out tonight, 8 o'clock. So
I'm excited. Week 1, I think I'm going to week 1. It's San Francisco is in Indy to take on the Colts. So you know how it is when your team is far, you try to see them whenever you can. You know, I used to see them on the rotation. It was every 6 or 7 years in Cincinnati. I saw like the last 3 or 4 of those when they were in Cincinnati, and so I think I might do that. I'm not going back to Minnesota. Beautiful stadium, nice people. 0-2. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But the NFL is taking over everything, and you know, we can talk about, you know, how football is the most American sport and blah 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 blah, blah. And it has become a quasi religion. It really has. Honestly, football is probably the easiest game to understand because it's not a lot of strategy for the layperson, right? You can kind of parachute into football because it's you know, it's people pushing and shoving back and forth, right? And football is very cinematic.
It is.
It you know, NFL films, the Sable family, like the NFL needs to pay them off in perpetuity for making the NFL what it is.
Man.
It's because the NFL is immune from the criticism of other leagues. What I mean by that is, what do people always bring up? Oh, it's the Rockies versus the Angels. And you're like, who cares? Well, like the NFL ain't got the Dolphins and the, you know, the Jets, right? Like, and those games are on TV and they're 11-4 or some bizarre score, but we have to pretend because it's football, it's enjoyable. And it absolutely is not, right? Like the NFL's immune for that. They had that stinker Super Bowl of the Rams and the Patriots, that 10-3 game. But ain't nobody talking about what's wrong with the NFL product because it is what it is, right? It's immune from all that. The NFL, you don't have to have a good NFL game to have an entertaining game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is the NFL can be boring, but it's still cinematic, even when it's, two terrible teams.
Punts and fumbles and punts. You still
right.
Right.
Right. You still gonna watch it. You still right. Because somebody gonna get jacked up. I know we don't do that anymore. But football's become a thing. NFL's taken over Christmas. They've had Thanksgiving. I think they're coming for the 4th of July. There's really, in my mind, no reason ESPN should have NFL Today every single day, Monday through Friday around the year.
Yeah.
It's not that much, right? But the draft is now 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is. Like, it's a whole thing. And now the schedule releases a whole thing. What does that even mean? Like, we know, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm old and cranky, but the NFL has just bogarted everything. Here we are, NBA playoffs, people, Joker being Joker, Shea being Shea, but we're going to take time from that and talk about what's going to happen in 3 months.
Yeah.
Or actually 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Week 1 is September something. Like, what are we doing? Right?
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents is we're going to have this big, and the teams get all great with their schedule releases.
Oh, yeah.
The Titans interviewing random people on the Nashville streets, still one of my favorites. Also, number 2 is the Chargers every year.
Yeah.
Do a pretty good job. I had a lot of Chargers fans, which I didn't know there were Chargers fans in the wild, get mad at me because I quote tweeted the Chargers last year and said, imagine if y'all put this much effort to the on the field product. And then people are like, oh, you 49ers fan, Purdy this, Purdy that. Justin Herbert ain't played in a championship game that I'm aware.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and then I don't know if you saw the little thing, the most national TV games of the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, whatever it was. Chiefs number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Your Cowboys on the list. And I ain't mad about that. The Cowboys, the Cowboys. My thing is, we can keep being mad that the Cowboys are on TV, but that ain't going to change nothing. They're going to be on TV. People going to talk about them. But on that list was the Chargers, and I'm like, the Chargers?
Wow.
Because it was Cowboys and Chiefs and Ravens and Bills and my Niners. And then, like, the Chargers, and I'm like, what? I know they haven't won the AFC West championship because the Chiefs is right there. I'm like, why are the Chargers on TV? Why is that happening?
And
I have to keep telling myself they're no longer in San Diego.
Yeah.
That's the one that won't stick in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I see something like LA Chargers, I'm like, LA Chargers? And it's probably been 10 years. Right? It's probably, I'm guessing it's been a while, right? It's like,
aren't they like, well, and aren't they like Vanderbilt? Pretty much the road team takes over so far. Whoever they're playing, the Bills, there's more Bills fans in there, or Niners fans take over, Cowboys fans, whoever they're playing, they're like Vandy. They play road games all year long. So.
Yeah, and I noticed that when they open SoFi, and of course, the Rams and 49ers play all the time. But Stafford, they doing the silent count at home.
Yeah.
I pointed it out to Kate. I was like, watch, where the guard is watching and then taps the center. I'm like, that's got to be demoralizing to have to do that at home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
that's
yay to the NFL for taking over everything.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So, let me backtrack to a couple things we missed. I meant to ask last week because now that you're the father of athletes and went to your oldest daughter's game there in Chicago, outside Chicago. We saw Mr. Halliburton get up in Giannis's face. And you now being the father, proud father of some athletes that are doing something, you say, if it was a tense game, you pace. And would there be a moment where you'd have to keep yourself from pulling a Mr. Halliburton, or you know where the line is? Because we didn't talk about him when they knocked Milwaukee out. I don't know how we didn't, but now he can't even go to the games, and his son is still showing out, and he having to watch at home or go to the friend's barbecue hut or whatever he has to go to watch them.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Like I have so much respect for the parents in the stands because it's tough. Your number one job is you want to protect your kids, right? You want to, but they're also competing in sports, and sometimes they're going to get bumped, and sometimes they're going to fall down, and they're going to miss the shot, and sometimes they're going to win the game, right? But you have to try to stay as even keel as you can, because luckily for me at that game they won 24-1, so I was not biting my fingernails. I think I was texting you every time they would score. I was texting you, I was texting Kate, and they would score. I would be like, man. And I don't know if I told you this, baseball's got walk-up music, but Roar, they have, you score a goal, you get goal music. Okay. So you score a goal and it's like, play the music. And, every girl's got their own song here. I personally am trying to push for my daughter to have Bad Leroy Brown. Now, it's not on the south side of Chicago. Aurora's on the west side of Chicago, but we can work with it, right? We can, the west side of Chicago is the baddest part of town, and if you go down there, you best beware of that defender named Sarah Brown.
This is not helping your case when your youngest daughter already has plenty of fodder for the age jokes. This. When she pulls up Spotify from when this song was released, this is not helping you.
Well, I tell you, like, she is locked into going to UK, and it's great, and it's fabulous, and she's already on me because Memorial Coliseum was not historic when I was there because it was brand new. She loves the fact that Rupp Arena is approximately our same age. Yeah. Actually, last time I was at home, I still got boxes at my parents' house, at my mom's house. I'm sure you probably got stuff at your mom's house, right? Just boxes, whatever. But I got my college boxes, notebooks and whatever. But I got the campus map from 1994. And just opening that up, and it's like a time capsule, like stuff gone.
Yeah.
So she got that. One, she was amazed that, because it's a map, like it's a folded, it's a map, like we use a paper map, which, I had a map of something. She's like, way to go, Magellan. And I'm like, kids humble you, but it's just, I held on to that map because right there next to Hagen Hall, it was the proposed library site. W.T. Young, which is now, I think, 28 years old now, whatever. But it was the proposed library site. So campus is a little bit different. So she's always giving me trouble. But back to the game, like you can't, it's like with John Morant's dad. You can't be the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing, is you can't cheer or boo to pull the eyes on you.
Yeah.
Because that's not what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have to cheer on your kid, and if they lose, you're right there. If they win, they're right there. But it ain't about you. And that's the thing, is you can't do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, looking at Halliburton's dad.
Yeah.
I don't know what you was sipping on in that cup, but Giannis is a big human being.
Yeah.
We gotta be honest about this. Like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So, but yeah, I being a parent and watching your kids compete, it's stressful. It is, especially as they move up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, from T-ball where kids are running around, is that's fine. But now the wins and losses kind of matter, right? Like we've moved beyond just have a good time and learn lessons. Now it's like we need to get some dubs. Like at the college level, you got to win. And that was my advice: is like, hey, you got to take this seriously because the coach wants to win because the coach wants to stay employed.
Yes, he does.
And she's very, very nice. But the coach is going to put a team out there that can win.
Mm-hmm.
So, but tip my hat to my oldest. She was second team all conference as a defenseman for her freshman year. So feeling pretty good about that. Very, very proud about that.
Yeah.
And in that same day when I got that notification, Lauren finished 5th in the city track meet for the women's 400 meters. So I'm like I told you before we got on, I don't know where they're getting this from. I look good. I got my game day hats and I got my shorts. I look good, but I don't know where they're getting that from. Because
they doing it, man. They doing it. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of doing it, everybody had Thunder Celtics in the finals, and it's just flipped upside down. We got the Pacers just out here, doing what they're doing. The Knicks doing what they were doing, and they were already gonna win before Tatum's unfortunate injury. I mean, I hate to see him get hurt. That was, just like Lillard the other day. Same deal, man. Hate to see that for both of those guys.
Yeah, and I was reading something before we got on. I'll have to send it to you about the kind of explosion of Achilles injuries in the NBA, particularly from the stars. And I think that part of it is, this article was saying, basically, are we asking these guys to do too much? We're asking them to cover a lot of ground and change the direction really quickly. Is that, the all the threes and all that, is that leading into something? And I don't know. Like I said, I'm just reading it, but a lot of Achilles injuries.
Yeah, sure is. So I don't know.
Look, Jason Tatum, I hope he has a speedy recovery. I do. Am I going to root for the Celtics? No, but the Celtics, outside of Paul Pierce, I don't think they've had too many players that I've disliked. I just don't like the organization.
Okay.
Right? Because, Ray Allen has been my dude since 96.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ray Allen, I'm going to rock with Rajon Rondo. I just don't want him to win.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then, the whole Mercer and Antoine Walker and all that, when Patino went there, thought he would get Tim Duncan. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you something else. I saw a clip today. Do you remember the Heat and Knicks series when P.J. Brown threw Charlie Ward into the stands? Walter McCarty was on the Knicks.
Okay.
I was like, what? Walter!
Oh man. So yeah, that's but and then I don't know who was it, the counter they were talking about coaches not playing their guys a lot of minutes. And on the flip side, Thibodeau plays his guys and plays his guys and plays his guys. And to this point, we haven't seen any of the Knicks have any of these injuries.
Right.
And they're supposed to be dog tired. So I don't, anything can happen at any time. You don't wish that on anybody. But Carl and Brunson and all those guys playing long seasons too, and the body can only handle what can handle. Yeah.
Right. And so hate to see Tatum go down. I don't know if you saw, was it last week? I think it was Bomani and Vinny Goodwill talking about Tatum is a weird superstar in the NBA. And what I mean by that is if you look at his resume, he's checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been to 5 or 6 conference championships, couple of finals, won one. But it's
Olympic stuff, been on the Olympic team.
But it's one of those things like they don't love you like that. And it's just, I don't know what it is.
He doesn't maybe carry himself like that. I'm that dude. His game doesn't radiate that I'm that guy. Like we expect the dude with the game like that to, D Wade, we didn't have a problem. We knew, I mean, okay, that's Dame Lillard, and he didn't even win a title. We don't begrudge him. Halliburton is on his way. We already kind of okay. But I see what you said with Tatum though.
But the thing is, and I have to hat tip Dan Le Batard. The thing about sports and what endears us, is it championships? Yeah, you want your team to win, but really it's about moments, right? It's before Jordan won a championship, he had that shot over Elo. And that was just a moment, right? Just, okay. I've talked all the time, when I think back to some of my favorite Lakers moments, they're not championship winning moments. It's the alley-oop to Shaq and Kobe, right? It's Kobe Shaq alley-oop. It's little things like it's those moments, and Tatum doesn't have any. They've won, but the same way Steph did in those finals against Boston. Hey, I'm going for 40. We got this. Tatum doesn't have that. Yeah. He doesn't even have the Dame time.
Yeah.
Where that was cinematic, right? Hit the 3 over Paul George, find the camera. Like, he doesn't have that.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't have those moments. And for me, that's what it feels like. You got to give us something to. What's a Jason Tatum highlight? Right?
Wow. All those games.
And you can probably think of 40 NBA stars right now that have had moments. Bam had that block on. Who was that? Was that Tatum in the bubble? That Bam had that block on the rim. Like Bam had that, right? LeBron's got a kajillion. Steph's got a kajillion. Kevin Durant's got a kajillion. Even Joel Embiid, right, has put up some moments. We don't have JR on here, but even he who shall not be named down in Atlanta has moments because they still cussing him in MSG, right? So, and I think that's part of why we remember Reggie Miller more fondly than we should. If you look at his resume, but he had moments, right? He had he had the 8 points in 3 seconds against the Knicks, right? He's got the whole him going back and forth with Spike Lee, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he had that, he had the choke, right? And he had that one game-winning bucket over Jordan in '98, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, you can have these moments. But Tatum, what is he giving you?
Yeah. Oh.
Luka gave us that ISO shot over Gobert last year to seal the game. You can go through it. Wemby has given us moments already.
Yeah.
Right? You can just think of the guys we think of as stars.
Mm-hmm.
And you can think about how did he hit that shot or how did they do that? And I'm not hating on Tatum when I'm like, I don't know if he's had a play like that.
He dunked on LeBron. Was that in the playoffs or was that regular season? And I think he got him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, we're struggling to
Yeah, but you gotta look for the juice. But everybody else, even James Harden, whose flameouts in the postseason are way more. He has still had moments where you're like, okay, because when he was with Brooklyn,
you
know, he did have some moments. So, yeah, I just speedy recovery. I hate that for Tatum, but you know, as far as the Celtics, I don't care. And the reason you should know, there's a lot of young people on Twitter. Somebody tweeted out, I don't know if you saw this make the rounds. Oh, we're getting Knicks and Pacers. Yuck. I'm like, man, we let these kids on here. I meant to tag you in this. I don't know if you saw this tweet. Like post the NBA MVP the year you were born.
Ooh.
And dog, there was people up here like Kevin Garnett, and I'm like, Kevin Garnett, 2004? Wait a minute, I'm arguing with kids born in 2004.
Exactly, man.
Like
20 years old. Goodness gracious, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Kevin Garnett and Steve Nash. I'm like, what? And here I am, Bill Walton.
yeah, exactly.
Almost old enough to post up who won the ABA MVP the year you were born. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we almost to that stage. So that's what I'm like. I can't argue with sports people. I can't argue with 20-year-olds.
It's like I put up, you saw it, the NBA cobwebs, and this dude's before our time, but they had the highlights of David Thompson with the Nuggets going up against the Nets. Dr. J and them beat David Thompson's squad in I think it was the last ABA championship. It was in 76.
Yeah.
But of course, our guy, David Davis, who comes on here from North Carolina, from the same area over there as David Thompson, went to NC State, a little bit younger than David Thompson, idolized David Thompson. He's before us, but we've seen the clips. We know the Skywalker, how he could fly. NC State won the title in 74. I think they beat, the aforementioned Bill Walton that year. And the clip, it was jab step, and dude had to give ground because if you don't, that first step you're gonna get dunked on. So you play and respect the jab step, and then he's just popping jumpers on you, tip dunks, alley oops.
Yeah.
If you crowd him, he's gonna go by you and dunk on your head. If you lay off of him, he was hitting the jumper. There is no way he would not kill it today. 6'4" with like a 90-inch vertical. That man was cold. And
speaking of vertical, did you see Johnny Broom's vertical?
No.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't. That ain't his game, though. Leaping ain't his thing.
So, yeah, obviously.
What was it?
Well, somebody pointed out that his vertical is that big guy that plays for Florida that's like 6'4", 400 pounds.
The football. Yeah.
The football guy.
I thought
had a higher vertical. Had a higher vertical than Johnny Broom.
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about the 7'9" kid from Florida at first that ain't playing yet.
No, which is not a prerequisite to being good, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been talking to my wife, my lovely wife, Kate. We're all in on the WNBA, but she is a sports fan, but not basketball, but just trying to, the nuances of the game and things like that. And I'm like, the thing is, what I don't understand about basketball is we get enamored, or even all sports, we get enamored by the athleticism, the folks that can run and jump and all that kind of stuff. But you're like, but then you look at Jokic and it's like, okay, but even going way back, like the kids need to understand, Larry Bird was that dude.
Yeah.
I don't care what watch him run, watch him quote unquote jump.
Mm-hmm.
That dude was a basketball player and could give buckets across. But if you think about some of these all-time greats, there's not a lot of freak athletes at that upper level, right? And so, again, like look at quarterbacks in the NFL, all-time great quarterbacks. Would you probably put Aaron Rodgers as the most athletic of those top 20 or so?
Yeah, if he.
But you look at the winners, right? Look at Joe Montana. He's not an athletic freak.
Mm-hmm.
No big arm.
Yeah.
No running and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's 11 Super Bowls right there. Not athletic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Troy Aikman. Nothing about Troy Aikman stands out except for the winning, to be honest with you, right? Yeah. Not a big arm, but
he's accurate. They talk about, but he ain't running. Troy ain't scrambling nowhere.
Right. But he ain't throwing it 80 yards downfield. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like we get in love with these physical specimens, and that's, have we had better athletes in the NBA than Magic Johnson? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still going to be point guard 1 in my book forever and ever, right? So we focus on these, draft time, around draft time, like all these athletic stuff, but that's kind of not how we win ball games. No. Steph is not an athletic freak. I think LeBron is. Steph isn't, I wouldn't say. KD, I think KD's more, his body just looks freakish, right? A 7-footer shouldn't look that smooth at the top of the key.
Yeah. He like our version of George Gervin, just long and lanky. And,
yeah, but not like, oh wow, you gotta watch. Oh, that and so you don't have to be the best athlete to be really, really good. My man, where is he at? Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this since the late 80s. He's not the fastest, right? He can't jump the highest.
No.
I would even concede he doesn't have the best hands. I thought Chris Carter had the best hands, like of that era we were growing up, him and Sterling Sharp. But if you are number 2 in the best hands and number 2 with the fast, like you put it all together, you could be in the Hall of Fame. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like you don't have to necessarily be an athletic freak to have some success.
Athletic freak, you think Vince Carter, athletic freak. My guy Neek, athletic freak. Neither one of them got rings. Baseball, I don't know how many hitters were frustrated by Greg Maddux. You look at him, the big nerdy, kind of chunky, out of shape, and you throwing 83 miles an hour. You think, I'm about to kill this dude, and you the game over, you 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Like, what?
And you're like, we lost to that guy?
He 2-hit us? What?
Yeah, and
the game over in an hour and 46 minutes.
Yeah. You're like, what happened? So I just think there's all this focus, but I'm still going to joke on Broom not being able to jump. I mean, it was like 24 inches. I'm like, you 2 feet?
24.
Like, if I just put up a couple of shoe boxes, you can't jump over that?
Ooh, man. Wow, he was player of the year or in the battle for player of the year with Flag all year long.
Yeah. It can't jump over a couple of shoe boxes, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Which we'll get to Flag and all that too. Got to put up some of these little screenshots. Let me try, because I meant to say this last week. I texted to you, but I didn't say it here on the show. Let's see. But yeah, they sent us a little email, and now I can't find. Yeah, Million Podcasts were ranking all their Kentucky Wildcats podcasts, and they just rank podcasts. Apparently, that's what they do. And they sent out their Kentucky Wildcats podcast rankings, and Cats Talk Wednesday came in at number 13. Out of all the Kentucky Wildcats podcasts. So I just thought, appreciate everybody listening. Congratulations to us. And, glad we own the Million Podcast list. So,
I don't know how they rank them, but it doesn't matter to me. They have to do better than the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences. They just announced that they're just now going to make their voters watch all the movies, which I thought that was a prerequisite to voting on the best ones. Anyway, I don't know the methodology, but 13, I'll take it. It's great because we're just two guys talking.
Yes, and you think about it, any kind of ranking about Kentucky, kind of anything, the first chunk is going to be the whole KSR umbrella, because they, the biggest kind of Kentucky media outlet in the state. So they're going to, to the KSR. And our guy Freddie was on the 11 Personnel, just the football podcast. And then what sources say with Jack Pugh. So a bunch of that top, 5, 6 KSR. So then you get out past that, and then here we are. Here we are in the next little cluster. Here we are, solidly at 13.
And we've been doing it for, I don't know, people keep asking me, I don't know, 12, 13 years. I honestly, I can't.
I need to go back to the first one. I need to scroll back and see when the date is.
I know it was after the AD championship, but
2014 maybe.
2014 is what I've been saying in my head.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So 11 years, and we sometimes it's just me and you. Sometimes we get guests, but we get people that watch us, people that listen, people that retweet, people that follow, and so we appreciate being ranked the 13th Kentucky Wildcats podcast on the Million Podcast. So appreciate y'all, man.
We on an award tour, just like Tribe.
That's right.
I'll never let a statue tell me how nice I am. Thank you, Fife Dog.
Yes.
Coming with more hits than the Braves.
Yes.
And the Yankees.
Yes.
There you go.
And when the accuracy of that line at that time, because that was who was in the World Series every year.
Yeah.
And I was mad after those World Series, but anyway, we was in there losing to the Yankees in the World Series. But we got that one in 95. And we got another one in 21. But that was more hits than the Braves and the Yankees. That was classic. Classic lines, man.
Hey, I love some Tribe.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, so we had to pat ourselves on the back for a minute as far as that goes. What's going on? Celtics right now trying to 18-13. Am I looking at it right? They're trying to survive, fight for their life. Your cousin Jaylen Brown gonna have to step up and be the first option. And Porzingis gonna have to kind of get over whatever ailment he got going on, this mysterious sickness. 18-13 Celtics. But some of these games, man, the carbon copy, deja vu all over again stuff. Did anybody think Cleveland was actually going to win when they was up 20 last night? The Knicks did the Celtics what? The first two games in Boston. Boston get a big lead and blows it both times. Some of these meltdowns or comebacks or teams stealing wins, Denver and OKC a few games ago. It's just been crazy, some of these games, man.
Yeah, look, man, there's a lot of stuff you can argue about with the NBA. But playoff NBA it's basketball to me in the purest form. Because you got guys that it's you celebrate the wheat from the chaff, as they say, right? It's different because in a 7-game series, it really comes down to execution, right? You know what you're going to do. They know what you're going to do. Can you do it? When the lights are brighter, right? Because the game slows down, right? The foul calls are different. Plus, it's a pressure cooker. And so I will take playoff NBA basketball. I put it up there with everything else. I enjoy it, even when my team's not in it.
Yeah, I'm still watching. Minnesota and Golden State next, but it's just been a whole lot of fun. And Brunson, man, you mentioned guys that's not freak athletes. He's another one. He look a little pudgy, but come the fourth quarter, you can't stop him. He gets where he wants to go. He gets his shot. He gets to his spot. If you want to penetrate, he got find a little angle to get his layup off.
And that's the thing, right? Is can you get to where you want to get on the court?
Mm-hmm.
That's basketball. Can you get to your spot and do what you want to do? And so if you've got somebody like a Brunson that can do that, I think that helps.
Mm-hmm. Now, the lottery, the Mavs up and get the number 1 pick after sending Luka to your Lakers. Nico and them, I guess, saying they're going to draft Flag. My whole thing was, they might have number 1 pick, but I got to see them actually draft Flag with, because conventional wisdom ain't exactly Nico's get down. He kind of think outside the box. And, I'm like, okay, so they got the number 1 pick. Should they? Probably not. But that don't mean he going to draft Flag. And if he does, that don't mean Flag is going to be what everybody thinks he is. Maybe he does. Maybe he is the next coming of a franchise player, but I don't know. Just wild stuff.
Yeah. It's easy to think that the NBA is rigged. It's easy to feel that way. Do I think it is? No. I don't. Is it weird looking that that the Mavericks get the number 1 pick after letting Luka go? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. But I don't think it's rigged. That's just me. Because here's the thing. When it comes to these conspiracy theories,
mm-hmm.
One, you have to look, how many people would it take to pull something like this off? You always have to look at how many people it would take. And everybody with all these conspiracy theories, I saw this, I don't know if it was a tweet, a post, or where I picked it up. Like, everyone thinks that conspiracy theories are easy to do. But it's like, try to plan something with your friends right now.
Okay.
Get 7 or 8 people and try to do any one task. It doesn't work that smoothly. Right? Try to plan a surprise birthday party for somebody right now. And you got somebody in your group, we can't let that person know what's going on because they're going to tell it. Right? That's been, and as my dad would say, you get 2 ifs. If this, then maybe I could. No, anything more than 2 ifs, no, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the benefit of rigging the draft lottery?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm with you. It looks like it is, but I don't know if I can. Like LeBron going to Cleveland. He from Akron, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but the Cavs were terrible. The Knicks were terrible.
And they used to have actual territorial stuff back in the 40s and the 50s. And it's like, oh, you went to Syracuse. Well, you're going to be playing for the Knicks. Or you went to, Northwestern. You're going to Chicago. Yeah, so.
I don't know. Because I see all this contrast between the NFL and the NBA. The NFL is always about the shield. Nobody gets bigger than the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Not Tom Brady, not Patrick Mahomes, not Joe Montana. It's the shield. It's the helmet, right? Nothing gets bigger than that. But the NBA is different. Basketball is different. It's a star-driven league. That's the difference. The Browns are the Browns because they're terrible. Right? But the NBA, it's basically like you can't get stars to play here. Giannis is looking to leave Milwaukee.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, he gave him a lot. So I'm and if I'm him, I'm kind of looking to leave too, maybe, or at least entertaining it.
And we have to stop romanticizing, oh, this dude stayed with one team, because they couldn't leave. I mean, that's the bottom line. Because they couldn't leave.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, the money wasn't right for them to leave.
You gotta look at. I mean, looking around, you won the championship, what, 3 years ago? Something like that. Middleton gone. Doc is your coach now. Dame is going to be out for a calendar year. You're 30, 31 years old, and you don't want to. You're trying to rebuild for 2 or 3 years with some of these draft picks
people that bash on the NBA. The thing is, if you've got a situation where you can play and live in Miami versus Milwaukee during the winter time, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, why? Like, to me, that's part of. Yeah, you want to make all this money, but part of it's like, where do I want to be during the winter months? And Milwaukee seems not fun.
And those markets that's just uphill fight year in and year out. That's a fight they can't win ever when it comes to attracting free agents and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I remember talking to Tony Delk when he played for Boston. He said, as soon as the season was over, I'm on the first plane back to Phoenix where I was living.
Yeah.
Because I'm going back to the warmth, man.
Right. And so I get people don't like the Lakers. I'm fine with that. Whatever. But be in LA as a member of the Lakers or Clippers seems like a pretty fun deal.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a young man, it's got beautiful women
everywhere.
Or beautiful men, whatever. And there's beautiful people there for you. And LA, there's something going on. In as much as you can still be a professional athlete, but you're not the only show in town. Like, if you are playing for the Knicks and you walking down Fifth Avenue, well, buddy, there's all kinds of people in New York City. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's celebrities walking up at, like, I'm sure you've seen the pictures. Celebrities just walking up and down in New York. And so if you are a that's how Derek Jeter can be Derek Jeter and do the gift basket thing. Because if you are in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you play for the Packers,
dude,
you've been to Green Bay.
Yeah.
You ain't blending in.
Like, that game, it was a Sunday afternoon. Was it 3 o'clock start? We left the stadium and went. It was a struggle to even try to find something to eat after the game. Yeah. We're talking like 7. We went, me and my buddy Matt was driving around. We like, oh, this is close. Whoa, this is close. Because we were staying 20, 30 minutes away. And we just trying to get a little something to eat, go back to the house we were staying at. And the town was shut down. Like,
and for my money, I think that's just a better. I don't know. It seemed there would be a better vibe to be in a bigger city.
Yeah.
Because you could do big city things during the season.
Mm-hmm.
If you in New York, LA, if you got your family, they can do great stuff in those cities that you can't do in Milwaukee or Green Bay. It seems like we're picking on Wisconsin, but I would probably put Portland on that list. There's other team. Heck, Indiana. But Indiana's all in on we're going to be the best small market team with the Pacers and the Fever. They're kind of becoming the center of professional basketball with Halliburton doing his thing. Of course, the Fever with Caitlin. Now, we talked about that. I'm fed up with the WNBA media. They need to wrap this up. They got to wrap up this discourse on Caitlin Clark. And I say this all the time, and I mean it. do these people know that the games are televised? Like we can see what's going on. That's my first question. My second is, have you ever watched basketball before?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're probably out of the loop, but I'm in the loop on this one. The last game that Caitlin played, the preseason game, Pow Pow from USC Junior, put two hands on her right in front of the ref. Ref didn't call it, so Caitlin gave her the forearm, hit the three. And now everybody on WNBA Twitter, we're getting different angles, and she can only score if she does this push off. And well, wait a minute now. Okay, all right, let's unpack this. Okay, last year this time, everybody said how physical the WNBA was going to be, and basically she was going to get her butt beat. That's what they said. That's what Gino told Dan Patrick. That's what was echoed by Taurasi and a bunch of other people, like, oh, it's physical. And when she got chucked last year a lot, and we were like, that doesn't seem like a basketball play. It's a physical league. It's physical. You all don't understand how physical it is. It's physical. But I'm like, but it's, people are like, it seemed like y'all trying to prove a point. We ain't trying to prove no point. And then it comes out that Caitlin had more flagrant fouls committed against her than anybody else by far. She had like 15. Next person had 7. Y'all keep saying that you're not trying to prove points, but it feels like y'all are.
Mm-hmm.
No, the league is just physical. Okay. So she spent this off season working out. The arms are bigger. She's worked on that core. So now she's putting that shoulder into your chest. Now she's too physical for the WNBA.
Wow.
And then you people, oh, the only reason she's so good because the refs. Vinny, I'm going to tell people this. You do not score almost 4,000 points in college thanks to the refs. You don't score more points in NCAA history than anybody else ever because the referees let you get away with it. Well, what has she done in the league? She was first team All-Pro.
Uh-huh.
She set the season mark for assists and the per game, and had 2 triple doubles last year. But folks keep telling me Paige is more complete. Like somebody actually wrote up that Paige is more unselfish. Caitlin's unselfish, which is a weird thing to say about somebody who set the season record for assists. I told my wife I've been watching basketball for 50 years. Getting close to, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard of any point guard leading any league in assists and being told they're not a good distributor. I don't care if you lead the SEC in assists, if you lead whatever conference Transy's in assists, like whatever it is, NBA, WNBA, EuroLeague, Olympics, she's the first person to lead this group in assists by far, and people saying with their whole chest she's not a good distributor of the ball. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what? Y'all know the games are televised, right? Like we can see what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm asking for is consistency. Because now, because the Fever, they had the Olympic break last year, they came out hot. Somebody said, well, the only reason they made the playoffs is because they played good after the Olympic break. My brother in Christ, everybody got an Olympic break. What are you talking about? Like everybody took it was just the Fever that got it. But what they won't talk about is the beginning of last season when the Fever played 11 games in 20 days with like 3 back-to-backs. Vinny, baseball teams don't travel like that.
Yeah.
And they play 162 games.
Uh-huh.
They won't talk about that and that weird scheduling quirk. But because they had an Olympic break, they benefited.
Well, the Louisville fan moved to Target.
Man, yeah, don't get me started on them again.
That's what these NBA W fans sound like. Just moving the goalpost.
And the thing is, again, I'm gonna keep banging this drum because there's so much stupidity out there. And they talk about how dangerous Caitlin Clark's fans are. Vinny, it's old people and kids. Go to the games. Just go to the games. It's not all this internet stuff. Y'all got to get off the internet. Touch grass, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like that.
Crazy.
But trying to convince me the only reason she scored 4,000 points is because all she does is shoot threes, which I'm like, okay, you've never watched her play.
Uh-huh.
And she's not a good distributor of the basketball, which I'm like, again, you've not watched her play. Whatever socio kind of thing you want to bring into it, it starts with she's very, very good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff we were talking about, what Jason Tatum doesn't have, she's got.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you become a thing is, hey, man, like I said, did you see MJ? Did you see that? Did you see that shot over Elo? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that switch? Did you see that? Tatum don't give us that, but Caitlin does, as well as other people in the W. I'm not saying she's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying people are here because that girl is special, and y'all not gonna make me. You're not gonna convince me that the only reason she's getting all this is because she's a white girl from Iowa.
Uh-huh.
Well, nobody knew who she was till Angel Reese, my brother and sister in Christ. The game before, she had that 40-point triple-double against Louisville, against Haley Van Lith and Jeff Walls. That was the most watched game. And then in the Final Four, she gave South Carolina, undefeated South Carolina, that 40 ball. And even though she lost against LSU, that was 35. Like, do y'all not see how that?
Yeah, it's a correlation.
There's levels to this, man. I don't know if you saw that tweet thread. Look, I get people pushing back. I had somebody, I have to send you the screenshot, told me that I could not be unbiased when it came to Caitlin Clark because I was married to a white woman from Iowa. I was like, that's true. I am. But come on. And what it was, I got bored one day and I looked up the Big Ten Network women's college basketball. Before Caitlin Clark, the women's games on the Big Ten Network were averaging 70,000 people watching them. And then they figured out when Iowa played, they were getting 100, then 150 to watch. This is her sophomore year. Okay. That's when they started focusing on like, oh, wait a minute.
We got something here.
We kind of have a thing here. And so by the end of her sophomore year into her junior year, now they're getting 200, 300, 400,000 people to watch women's basketball on the Big Ten Network.
Wow.
And then by her senior year, I think it was the Ohio State game her senior year, like 1.2 million people. So in 2 seasons, they went from getting about 70,000 to now averaging close to like 200,000-300,000 and peaking at over 1 million. Like you can chart this out. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Like you can tell me she ain't that, but the numbers kind of back it up. So I got to come off that soapbox, but I see it. Like if it wasn't for the referees, come on, man. Like I just well, she didn't win no rings in college. Like, and they're trying to puff up Paige. Like Paige wasn't even the MOP of the Final Four this past year. But again, do y'all know these games are televised and we can see what's going on? That we can see we can see when teams move their games to bigger arenas.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go up to Minneapolis to watch her play the Lynx, but they got that thing. You remember they used to do this with Kentucky a lot in the SEC. You couldn't just buy a single game ticket.
Right.
Like you had to like get 2 or 3 around Kentucky.
Yeah, the bundle.
Right, because you would turn on Jefferson Pilot, and it would be like Georgia versus Alabama. You see a lot of Kentucky fans. You'd be like, "Well, that's weird." On a Tuesday night, or whatever. Oh, Kentucky is coming to town this weekend, right? So they got this bundle thing. I'm like, I'm not paying for an extra ticket to see the Lynx versus the Aces. That's not why I'm here. So if y'all don't think she's special, the moneymakers do. The moneymakers are like, yeah, we're gonna have to do this right.
Got some gold. They know. Got a gold mine. They know it.
Yeah.
This other screenshot you was talking about, I found it. So I'm just, add a little visuals to the show every now and then we can. But this SEC tweet, the villain tweet that was
it's bait. Like, I know it's funny and all that kind of stuff, but look, man, John Vincent Calipari, not a villain. The guy he replaced, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But again, just because it ended doesn't mean it wasn't great for 10 years. That's I don't know. Coach Cal is not a villain.
I mean, he just went with the most recent thing what's the most recent thing that happened to okay.
Yeah.
John Calipari got to be a villain.
And then Arkansas, you can't put the side piece, and I'm trying to be respectful here, and not put Bobby Petrino. But I guess they couldn't do that because he's actually back on staff now.
There's that.
And let me talking about the Bobby Petrino stuff. That's been the highlight of being with someone who's aware of sports but doesn't know all the details of college football, college basketball. The first time I explained the Bobby Petrino story to Kate was just her mind was blown. Because she was like, surely that's enough. I'm like, baby, we haven't even got him leaving Louisville yet. Then you got to get to the quitting on the Falcons. And then you get to Arkansas, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm trying to see who else, because Georgia is Alabama, I think. If I'm looking at that, I'm trying to blow. I'll just go to. I got my computer. I'll blow it up. But people, it's like you said. It's summertime. It's you need to get engagement any way you can. But I was like, Coach Cal can't be a villain.
Yeah.
Now he's been a villain to a lot of other people in the SEC.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But, but yeah, that's just with him leaving, they just want to make him a villain. But Billy G definitely more of a villain. Like I said, let Kalen DeBoer lose 3 games at Alabama again. You can take that Philip Fulmer off, and Alabama fans will have Kalen DeBoer as the villain because the program is slipping. Tennessee, I think it's got to be Lane Kiffin, or you can put the Final Four up there since they can't ever get there.
That's what I would put up there. That's when that's what I would say is their villain story is making it to the Final Four.
Yeah. So Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. He not doing that great at USC, and then I think Texas with Bob Stoops. Texas rivals Oklahoma. Got to be Bob Stoops. I think that was a little bit lazy. The Texas A&M with Schlossnagle, though, I think that is because he took A&M to the College World Series, lost to Tennessee, and then was going to Austin like the next day. So I can see that one for those weird A&M people. I can see the Texas coach being their villain because that's cold blooded.
Yeah, Missouri, Kansas, Cam Newton for Mississippi State. Did he beat Kansas? I need to mind myself because for me, a villain for Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I would say integration, but that's wrong. I won't say that except I just did. but Auburn, Nick Saban, can't it just be Alabama again?
Yeah. Like it was for Georgia, for sure. Yeah, because Kirby don't beat everybody but Alabama consistently.
But Tennessee, Shiano, am I missing something there? Oh, they tried to hire Shiano, right?
Yeah.
Is that when Vol Twitter? Like,
I don't know if that's beyond his control. That was the reaction to him is what.
And that's what I'm saying is, let me be clear. Was this one of the multiple times that Vol Nation had a meltdown on Twitter, on social media about a coach? They seem to do that a lot.
The I don't even know, was there even Twitter when he was there? But the revolt, the pushback was strong in Knoxville when the notion that they were going to bring Greg Schiano from Rutgers or wherever he was to coach their football team was not received well.
I remember some Kentucky fan or poster like talking about Tennessee, finally getting it right on Heupel. Like, look what they built overnight. And I'm like, are we not talking about like Dooley and all those? Like, it wasn't overnight at Tennessee to get to Heupel.
Yeah.
I
still think Lane Kiffin one and done would be villainous.
Right. Like Lane Kiffin and Dooley, and I know I'm missing somebody else. Butch Jones.
Pruitt. Yeah, Jimmy
Pruitt. Like, yeah, come on. Like, it wasn't overnight. They had like 8 dudes. Like they went through 8 dudes from Fulmer to probably more than that. If we sat down and
he forever the trivia question, because that was a streak buster for us. Thank you. Derek and them orange pants he used to wear.
Hey, it is what it is, But that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, so just a little fun, something to kick around, because this the time when you kick stuff around this time of year. So that's what we doing, man. But yeah. So got some little visual aids in here from time to time, little screenshots and
stepping it up.
We try to get a little video of some kind here and there, but we try, we getting there. We doing what we can.
Absolutely.
So do the Knicks close it out tonight?
Yeah, put the Celtics out of their misery.
And are the Warriors going home tonight?
Yeah. I think so. Stuff. Look, I get it. It sucks that when your team loses a series, a star player gets injured. That's just what happens. Like that's sports. Like that. I remember 1990. Yeah. Was it 1990? No.
89.
89. Byron Scott got hurt in the playoffs, and then Magic tore his hamstring game 1 of the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that, man. It's one of those things where I know that rings culture means rings mean everything, but a lot of stuff has to break your way to win a championship. Like a lot. Like it just does. There's a little bit of luck to winning.
Nope.
It just, people don't want to admit that luck and chance kind of plays a part in that, but it absolutely does.
Mm-hmm.
From an injury standpoint to, a shot going in, a pass getting through, there's a lot of, I'm drawing a blank. My stat, lot of probabilities out there in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. I mean, think about it. Anthony Davis at Kentucky, was it Elite 8? Yeah. Was it Elite? Yeah, against Baylor. Goes down and grabs his knee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in saying like, oh no, not like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we've seen Keith Bogans. Okay. That's another soapbox moment.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are on the Keith Bogans bandwagon now. I don't know if you saw this on KSR, but there's a big post about how Keith Bogans might be the most underrated player in Kentucky men's basketball history. And you know I've been banging that drum for almost 20 years since he left UK.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I call it the overlooked Keith Bogans All-Stars. He's absolutely on that list. Number 4 all-time leading scorer, SEC Player of the Year, All-American. And we really don't talk about that dude that much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, are there other people that we don't think? Yes, of course. You can't have our history, and some guys get overlooked. But I'm like, that dude. And again, it's been almost 30 years since we've had somebody play for Kentucky that we've honored. It's going to be bad. I keep banging that drum too, and it's going to get to a point where it's like, what are we doing? Because then, to me, it's going to start cheapening it because you're going to start trying to add people. I've said my piece on it. Bogan should be honored. And I'm pretty sure everybody can come up with 5 or 6 names of guys that should go up there.
Mm-hmm.
But for my money, you put up Keith, you put up Tayshaun.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Because those are the best 2 under Tubby, I would say.
Yeah.
Player of the Year, All-American. That, like, come on. Again, I don't want to take up any airtime with that diatribe. Everybody knows where I sit, but hey, we're a few years from it being comically bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last dude to get honored was your guy Tony Delk, and he signed with Kentucky when George H.W. Bush was president.
Good Lord.
Because he signed before the 92 election and the 93 inauguration of Bill Clinton. George H.W. Bush in 1992.
Ugh. Yeah, that's he comically bad is right. You're right.
I mean, and so when I see teams retire numbers or honor people like they did at Colorado with Sanders, I think, why do you care? Like if you're not associated with Colorado, why do you care?
Yeah.
Everybody does their things different, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we've talked about this. As a Lakers fan favorites don't get honored. Just about any other franchise, maybe outside of Boston, right?
Yeah.
Derek Fisher gets honored.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Robert Horry is up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the entry point to that for the Lakers is just different. I get Kentucky. We want to be the best of the best, right? Mark Pope talked about that in his press conference the other day.
Yep.
We want to be the best, but part of it is honoring those players that have played before. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Everybody was so worried about Cal's guys versus are they Kentucky guys or Cal's guys. Mm-hmm. I'm like, we haven't honored any of Tubby's guys.
Yeah. That's true.
Like at some point we gotta do that if we say that we're the best, because this is so. Again, I caught a clip of Matt Jones talking about the top blue bloods. I think he said Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina. Those are your 4.
Mm-hmm.
I would have UCLA up there, whatever. But if those are your 4. And his argument for Kentucky being ahead of everybody else is the fan base. The fans make the difference, which I agree with. The fans are integral to Kentucky being Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
I concede that, but I think it's become a detriment because now it's like the players don't matter. The coaches really doesn't matter because we've got the fans. And I'm like, the players actually do matter. Like, we should take time to honor those players that have made this possible.
Yeah.
I think that's important for universities and programs to do that. And we can get into the one and done, all this kind of stuff. I don't care about that. You honor the bare minimum national players of the year.
Yeah.
Well, those are all Cal guys because we didn't have any till Cal got here.
Yep.
Which it was that crazy thing. Kentucky and Alabama not having a Heisman Trophy winner.
Right.
Because I remember when that came out, was it Ingram was the first, I think?
Yeah.
It was Ingram. Yeah. And they said that, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
So I thought like Joe Namath would have won it or something, or like.
But I was like, well, because Sean Alexander, I think, was top. Yeah. He got invited to New York, I think. But you just assumed at some point they got a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Just like I'd assumed that I'm like, Dan Issel wasn't?
Right. Yeah, same thing with, Dan Issel for us, Joe Namath for them, or Bart Starr or somebody.
Or, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, did Mashburn not get it, Yeah. And for me, the difference between Kentucky and everywhere else is all those other programs, they have all-time greats. And let me preface by saying, I love Dan Issel, fantastic. Anthony Davis, but we don't have a Michael Jordan. We don't have a Kareem.
Yeah.
We don't have a Wilt Chamberlain in Kansas, right? And Duke, I know they don't have like NBA, as we've kind of railed on Jason Tatum a little bit today. But, I mean, Christian Laettner, he's a top 5 college player of all time.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to admit it, he was that dude.
Yeah.
And Grant Hill, like, we don't have that. And for Kentucky to be as competitive as we are at a national level without a top 15 player, depending on how you would rank AD and Issel, are they top 15 college guys? I don't think I would say that if I sat down and looked at it. So for Kentucky, and that's why I've fallen in love with everything Kentucky is, we don't have the best home court advantage. Kansas is different. Even Duke, right? The Cameron Crazies, a little bit different, right? And we're Kentucky. As a state, nobody really thinks about Kentucky. But here we are. And try as they might, they try to get rid of us. That's why I try to tell these young kids, like, this person's picking against Kentucky. Baby, they've been picking against Kentucky since 1948. Right?
Nope.
But we keep winning. But I just want to see us honor those players, and we need to honor while they can still get appreciated.
Right.
Like, I love it. It's great. But the first time we honor some of these former Rupp runts shouldn't be now when we got to wheel them out there. Let them enjoy it. Because my whole thing is with the Keith Bogans, with the Tayshaun Prince, nothing has happened between 2003 to now to change Bogan's case. Either he's an all-time great or he's not.
Yeah.
Why are we waiting 20 years? Because even Delk didn't get up until like 2014.
Yep.
What are we doing? Like, we can laugh at Iowa. Hey, I love Iowa for a lot of reasons, but they're like, if you're good, we taking care of you the next year. That's what they do. Because what difference does it make to retire Caitlin Clark's number, honor her now, or wait 10 years? What's the point of that? Or South Carolina honoring Asia Wilson, 3 or 4 years down there. Like, do you? But what Asia did at USC Junior it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to see people that are our age get honored.
Mm-hmm.
TD close, a little bit older, he close, but come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the last person honored signed with Kentucky when George H.W. Bush was president. So that's all of Clinton. That's Obama, 2 terms. That's George W. Bush, 2 terms. Right? That's Trump, 2 terms, and Biden. That's 5 different presidents.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's too long of a drought. You're right.
We have never. Kentucky fans have never texted each other about signing somebody that got honored by the
UK. That's true. Yeah,
and we absolutely should. We should have 2 or 3 layers of. I know we don't retire jerseys. I get that, but we should have that.
Yep, you're right.
It's just ridiculous to have 30 years of Kentucky basketball and not honor anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. We want to be snobby and things like that, but
yeah, that's don't need to be doing just holding people hostage. I mean, if you're worthy, you're worthy. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's my two cents. Get it together, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got it together for this episode, we hope, and appreciate everybody that tuned in to watch on Twitter and Facebook, live there, live on YouTube as well, and we'll put it up on Spotify and all those other platforms where you can listen. Thanks for getting in the comments, Michelle. We know you always supporting the show, been a real one from day one, the #1 fans. We appreciate it. We'll hop on off here and hope everybody has a good evening. Hope it keeps getting warm up there. We'll have more summertime stuff to talk about next week, and hope to have our guests back. Hopefully have Sierra Newton but next week as well. So we'll have fun. We'll kick it around. We'll chop it up a little bit. But go Cats as always. TB, be safe. You and Kate and Sammy and everybody. Take care of yourselves up there. And we'll be back next week on another episode of Cats Talk Wednesday on the BS3 Network. Everybody have a good evening.